This is an interesting mayfly emerger I came across. It's called a Deleatidium emerger. Deleatidium is a very common mayfly in New Zealand, and I was commissioned to tie some flies for a friend who's heading down to New Zealand, and this looks like it's got some applications to our mayflies as well, so some neat techniques here. This is a clinkhammer hook, 1167 Daiichi. For this one I'm going to use a gray thread. It's A uni thread. I've placed the hook kind of drooping down because it will make it a little easier to get at the back half of this hook. I'm going to start with some golden brown Antron. And I got about 6 fibers, and I'm going to double them over and tie them to the back. Now I'm keeping my thread wraps rather even so that it has a consistent color from front to back, because I'm going to slide a piece of clear stretch tubing over it. This is Wapsi stretch tubing, medium I think. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut this at an angle. What that does is kind of makes the effective size of the hole bigger. A little saliva to lubricate the hook. This is a fairly tight fit. This is a size 16 hook. 14. No, it's a 16. So I'm going to start that up, and I know about how long I want it, so no use stretching any more onto it or pushing any more on it than you have to. And I'm going to push that back until that little sharp point is hooded over my tie-in point. Now I'm going to touch that with my nail so it stays right on top and get some wrap started, and just segment it until I get up to the flat part. Trim my shuck and reposition my hook. And there, I got the top half parallel to the table. It's going to be just like tying a regular fly without too much in the way of contortions. Now I've got a 1.5 millimeter foam. I've cut it to a point to just make it a little easier to tie in. Now I have a pretty good wing case with this foam, so leave yourself plenty of room. I'm going to tie in a brown or dark ginger hackle and kind of make a couple of turns down snug, parachute style. And this part's kind of messy. I haven't figured a way to make it any neater. I'm just working my thread around until I got it tied in. And the messy part doesn't matter too much because I'm going to stroke as many of these as I can towards the back. And then just bind down the strays enough. So you can see what I ended up with was kind of a half a parachute sticking out the back. That's what I want. That's the part that I need. And just make sure none of them stick far enough forward to give you trouble around the eye. Now I'm going to have a HiVIZ post on this, so I've got some hot pink. Antron yarn. There's a lot of different things you can use, or materials, and a lot of different colors. Pick the one that you see the best or your buddy sees the best. I'm going to tie that in so that it's right about in the middle of the remaining hook. I'm going to use a little UV gray dubbing on this. Now this UV dubbing is kind of unruly. If you just dub it on the hook, it wants, or excuse me, on the thread, it wants to come off. So what I do is rub up and down the hook and get it good and crinkly, then respread it on your thread. And with real firm turns, you can dub it fairly tightly. Now, protecting a little bit around the eye of the hook, I'm just going to build up a thorax. A few strays are inevitable. Just be good at trimming them. Now that I've got this ready, I'm going to take my scissor tip and just pierce the foam and kind of look for a spot that's going to be in the middle where I did the HiVIZ post. I've got my trusty bobbin threader. Now if I pull the threader through here, I'm going to have to pull the whole length of this doubled over, so I'm going to give it a break and only have to pull a little bit through. Then the Antron comes through smoothly. Firm but gentle turns, and then my tight turns are underneath. I don't want to cut that foam. I'm going to tie my whip finish before I trim this stuff. Let's come in from the side with your scissors, and you can get down and expose the hook eye without too much trouble. And I still got a little bit of foam sticking out in front of my wraps, but it blends in with the case. Nice smooth fly that should hang in the surface and suspend Deleatidium Emerger.